Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
Ted.
Nathan Nerdarchy.
And today we have a GM911 viewer suggestion question: Arcane Trickster versus the Assassin.
If you have a GM911 or viewer suggestion and you'd like Nerdarchy to help you out, you can send an email to nerdarchy@gmail.com, or you can head over to our forums, such as Netocap did, and just put it in the GM911 section.
Okay, so this has already been resolved, but Netocap kind of just wants to know how we would handle this. And he told us, how he went about it and some of the problems that ensued or whatever. Here's the setup, guys. Assassin's at the lock door. He's trying to pick the lock before the party can get to him and stop him. Interceding between the assassin and the party is an air elemental. So the party cannot actually get to the assassin without first defeating the air elemental. It's a narrow hallway. Every round, the assassin is making a thieves pick tool check to try and bypass this lock to defeat the party or escape the party. But in the meantime, the rogue has countermeasures in place. He wants to use his leisure main from being an Arcane Trickster to either sleight of hand to start removing weapons from the assassin, or to counter lockpick him by giving him disadvantage, creating difficulty with his lockpicking efforts.
Yes. Now the important thing is,
here's what I envision.
All right.
Okay.
Before we get to the important thing, I kind of envisioned like a chopstick fight, but with lockpicks instead. All right, go to your important thing.
oh well, I was going to say the reason that they're trying to stop the assassin to get through the door is not necessarily the assassin can escape, but because there's a unarmed merchant, from what I understand, inside the room, right?
Oh, maybe that was what.
So it's
it was,
time
yeah.
sensitive. Not only it doesn't mean somebody's a terrible person's going to escape, but it also means that someone's going to die.
So in the game, the player wanted to do two things. He wanted to use his mage hand to disarm the person, take the weapons out of his sheaths, and clearly he's allowed to interact with an object and do a pickpocket. That says it right here under the
Yeah, as long as the object's in a container, which technically weapons, if they're sheathed, are in a container.
Yes, and it says that he's allowed to pickpocket. It says you can use thieves' tools to pick locks and disarm. Oh, sorry. You can retrieve an object in a container worn or carried by another creature. So if it's in a sheath, I see no reason why he couldn't do that. So,
and Mage Hand lets you. I'm actually surprised. I thought it was 5 pounds, but it's actually 10 pounds worth of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was 5 either.
You could empty a whole quiver of arrows, in my opinion, for 10
grab
pounds.
them all.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't know what the assassin had as weapons, but I see no problem with attempting to do that. And realistically, the mage hand isn't visible as per mage hand ledger main, and while they might be aware of the people fighting behind him, if he's not taking disadvantage on his lockpicks to be aware of what's going on behind him, he would be at disadvantage for any kind of perception check to notice what's going on, because he's going to have to be focused on getting through this door, right?
I agree with that, absolutely. I think I would give kudos to that player for coming up with some creative solutions and ideas.
I would absolutely agree.
And I would have probably said I would have allowed him to do either or both of those things, and I probably would have given inspiration for the cool ideas.
So then the second idea is, can he use the ledger main to impose disadvantage on the actual lockpicking roll? And since he can attempt to unlock doors with it, and he can interact with an object, I would see no problem with applying a little bit of force at the wrong time or in the wrong direction and causing him to actually have to fight his own set of tools.
I would almost go with two solutions here, right? And the player could probably pick, or either one will work for me. One is disadvantage. That's fine. That's awesome, right? Or ready to action for when the assassin disarms the lock, that he can, as a ready action, relock it.
Attempt to relock it,
because that would just be funny.
And I would think that if the thief took his thieves' tools over there, or the thief's got his thieves' tools, he's working with some of them, the mage hand could grab another thief's tool and just shove it in there.
Block it, yeah.
Wouldn't that? I'm attempting to unlock this in a counterintuitive and counterproductive way, which I think would be disadvantaged on its own. I mean,
you're dealing with a floating lockpick.
Here, let me help you pour that water. Double the strength means water's everywhere. So that same kind of mentality that you can basically throw something into the gears. Of the action.
So I agree that, I'll say that based on what's here written under the Arcane Trickster, as well as the actual spell description in the back, I don't see anything that would stop this scenario from happening. And I absolutely agree with you, Dave, that's a wonderful player solution for dealing with the hardship.
Yeah, they get an advantage.
And during combat, the rogue is actually chosen to take
he's concerned about the actual overall quest, not just the mechanical combat that's placed in front of him.
Yeah, so he's giving up his action. So I believe Leisure Bane is a bonus action. We just had it open
after I close it.
I know. Well, the reason why I asked, so you could do the swipe stuff as a bonus action, or maybe the counter lock picking. I might require a standard action if I wanted to impose some kind of penalty, but that's all it would be. It wouldn't be. Oh, is it actually casting Mage Hand?
Yeah, you actually you when you cast Mage Hand, these are the things that you can do with it. So
but the thing is, you cast it and it does something rather than casting it and then having to wait to do stuff.
Yeah, what I didn't know is if it was the cunning action, if it was part of a cunning action or something like that. For the Arcane Trickster. So absolutely, in this case, we're going to go with what the player wanted to do and say that was a lot of fun.
Oh, I know, you're absolutely correct. Down here. In addition, you can use the bonus action granted by your cunning action to control the hand.
Okay. So now, like I said, the only thing I would say is maybe on the anti-lock picking check, that might be a standard action as opposed to a bonus action.
Right.
And that's about as punitive as I would want to get as the DM.
Yeah, or maybe rather than say, "Oh, I'm just screwing up his lockpicking check," maybe you have to make a lockpicking roll to counter him.
Oh yeah, opposed rolls.
Yeah, opposed rolls. I think that might be the best way. If the DM says nay and the player's like, "Well, I should be able to do this," well, maybe an opposed rolls check would be more appropriate.
I would allow that, depending upon what scenario you're looking at, either I'm going to try and relock it while he locks it. That I would say, all right, you need to beat the DC of the lock, whereas to just impose disadvantage, if you wanted to force the issue, I would say, can you meet a DC 10 or 15 to impose that disadvantage?
More like an ability check rather than just saying, I'm doing it.
I would just, in my game, if somebody decided to do that, I would just be all right, he's doing it with disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, the simplest solution sometimes is the best. And
yeah.
Like we've probably stated over and over again now, it's just a fun idea.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And I would go for the fun ideas over the...
And as we've talked about in games, or in videos past, people are going to remember those memorable moments. The player, if he walks away, especially if the assassin got through the door, killed the person, and they failed that portion of the quest, that player's going to be pissed off that he had a really great idea and the DM stepped on his toes. Whereas if the thief is getting frustrated, the assassin's getting frustrated that he can't get through this lock because there's this floating lockpick in his face. Meanwhile, he reaches down, his swords are gone. The players finish off the other players finish off the elemental. He turns around without weapons. That's going to be a memorable story that they're going to talk about for years.
Yeah,
much more memorable than the assassin got through the door because that's what the DM wanted and it happened.
Yeah, and that's my last thought on it is, what did the DM want to actually have come out of this outcome? Did it matter one way or the other whether they saved the merchant or not to what he had planned? So that's another thing is were you kind of biased towards, well, in a sense, nerfing what the thief thought was totally appropriate because you wanted to not have their outcome, the beneficial outcome, happen?
Never as a DM, never present a scenario that you have solid. It's always got to be the players have the chance
to affect
it. And that's kind of one of the major rules of GMing.
Well, yeah, otherwise you shut down too much player agency. So I was just curious if that, he didn't state that, but I was like, I wonder if this was kind of I need this guy to die, but I want to have it kind of be da 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 da, you know, like cue suspenseful music.
Right, yeah. I mean, you could. There's other ways of doing it, but you guys let us know in the comments below what you think. You know, do you agree with this? Like, that would have been much more fun for him to have the Arcane Trickster basically foul up the assassin and take his stuff and basically just mess with him while he's trying to go kill this merchant. Or do you agree with the GM and, you know, the Arcane Trickster shouldn't be able to do those things? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over on Facebook.
You can also check us out on Nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.
Lockpicking efforts.
Yes. Now the important thing is,
here's what I envision.
All right.
Before we get to the important thing, important thing, I kind of envisioned like a chopstick fight, but with lockpicks instead. All right, go to your important thing.
oh well, I was going to say the reason that they're trying to stop the assassin and get through the door is not necessarily the assassin
Trying to pick the lock before the party can get to him and stop him. Interceding between the assassin and the party is an air elemental. So the party cannot actually get to the assassin without first defeating the air elemental. It's a narrow hallway. Every round, the assassin is making a thieves' pick tool check to try and bypass this lock to defeat the party or escape the party. But in the meantime, the rogue has countermeasures in place. He wants to use his leisure main from being an Arcane Trickster to either sleight of hand to start removing weapons from the assassin, or to counter lockpick him by giving him disadvantage, creating difficulty with his.
An email to nerdarchy@gmail.com, or you can head over to our forums, such as Netocap did, and just put it in the GM 911 section.
Okay, so this has already been resolved, but Netocap kind of just wants to know how we would handle this. And he told us, you know, how he went about it and some of the problems that ensued or whatever. Here's the setup, guys. Assassin's at the locked door. He's trying... Hey, guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
Ted.
Nathan Nerdarch.
And today we have a GM 911 viewer suggestion question. Arcane Trickster versus the Assassin.
If you have a GM 911 or viewer suggestion and you'd like Nerdarchy to help you out, you can send